Thank you.
The lady from Hennepin, Representative Flanagan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Representative Considine. So I rise and ask my colleagues to vote no on this amendment. I think we've heard a lot of compelling reasons, in particular from my Anishinaabe colleague, Representative Becker-Finn, regarding why this route concerns us. But I think the biggest thing is that we're having a lot of conversations this week in particular, and a little bit last week, about listening. And about listening to voices that aren't always heard, and sometimes are ignored with intention. And when we talk about, well, no matter where we put this, there will always be controversy, that is something that Indian people have heard for a long time. That Native people are often in the way. Well, there are agreements that we have, like the 1855 Treaty, which says that we maintain the right to hunt, to fish, and to harvest wild rice. And Pipeline 3, Line 3, puts that at risk. We have an alternative route that Friends of the Headwaters have shared with us that doesn't go through water where wild rice is harvested, and I think we should take a look at it. But the biggest reason why I stand up here on the floor today is that we need to listen to the voices of Native people. And we need to listen to the voices of Minnesotans along this route and go through the process, because what this amendment does is stops the conversation. And Representative Keel brought up the meeting in Bemidji where a few folks showed up. There were so many folks who showed up, they shut down the meeting. And do you know who lives in Bemidji? Native people who said, we don't want this, or at the very least, listen to us. Because I can bet you when this pipeline was put in 1970, they weren't talking to tribes. So here we are, once again, and in many ways this is sort of a tale as old as time, with Native people, treaty rights, just being in the way of progress. And Representative Grossell, I'm glad that you brought up what happened in North Dakota, because that was another instance of Native people simply being in the way of progress, quote unquote. In the capital, Bismarck, where they want to construct a pipeline that went under the water source for people of Bismarck, which was primarily Caucasian folks, the folks there said, no, we don't want it. We don't want the potential of this pipeline breaking and this poison in our water. So what did they do? They moved it downriver. They moved it downriver to the water source of the Standing Rock tribe. And again, this is something that has played out repeatedly through history, where somehow Native lives matter just a little bit less than those around them. The last week or so around here has been difficult. I know for many of us on both sides of the aisle. We've had some tough conversations, but I think this is an opportunity for us to really listen and to move forward with this process. When we literally have letters from the Leech Lake Nation, from my tribe, from the Minnesota Chippewa tribe, saying we don't want this, and we want a process where we're listened to. That should be enough to ensure that we don't pass this amendment that allows the Enbridge to just roll right through. My heart has been hurting over the last week, but let me tell you, my heart is full in this moment. From the drums that we heard in the House chamber, which isn't music, it's a prayer. Something that we do every day when we come together. My heart is full by the voices and the Native people, in particular the young Native people who are here in this chamber, who know what is at stake. That their generation, that the next generation, that 7 generations from now will be affected by the decisions that we make here today. So colleagues, I ask you once again to listen to the voices of Native women. Listen to the voices of communities who are telling you, we want to be a part of this conversation, we want to be listened to, and we want our voices to be heard. Chi miigwech.